Troops, here we are, another Eagle podcast. And the next gentleman who's coming on the show, I heard him talking to the legend, Gary Vee. But this guy had the same passion as I had for Gary. And I thought, wow, what a great guy. I've got to get him on the podcast. I've got to know his story. He's got a fantastic man cave. In fact, he calls it the Pat Cave, and it's brilliant. It's Pat Clark. Pat, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on, Josh. John,
no,
right?
it's
John.
Yeah, John. Yeah, no, it's no problem. Let's just jump straight into it. You managed to get on with the GOAT. How did you do it?
Well, it's crazy. Like we talked a little bit before this, but we're both huge fans of Gary, right? Yeah. And one of my favorite things that like following Gary does is like this. Like we've never met before, and bringing it together so that we can do stuff like this, that's like what it's all about. So first off, just thanks for reaching out. Second of all, it's like, man, when people say they follow Gary Vee, it's like, I can tell if they do or don't, right? Yeah. And I kind of put it in my own words, like there's watchers and players, right? So like, I know you and I, when we see it, we're like players. We're like awesome. And other people just watch and consume, and that's okay. It's like, they're happy with watching, but like you and I, Gary hits another level with us than just a watcher. You know what I'm saying?
I sometimes, if I listen to podcasts, Pat, when I'm doing things, so if I'm working on my website, if I'm cleaning the house, if I'm out jogging, and there'll be moments where he'll say something and I'll stop it. It stops me dead, like hard dead, and I'm like, fuck it, I need to implement that right now. Yeah. What is it about Gary for you? Like, what is it that just absolutely hits home?
That's what it was, man. It was like, no more excuses. Let's just stop. I've been wanting to do this YouTube superhero channel for months and months.
Yeah.
And so I kept finding excuses. Oh, I got to fine tune the script. Oh, I got to get another poster. So the thing was, it's like, just like you said, I was just like, I'm going to dive in. Consistency, content is king. And that's how I actually got on the show. I just started texting him, right? That text thing, his number he puts up.
Yeah.
And I know it's a subscription. I know it's, something that he can't get to personally. And I knew that going in. But I did it once a day for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Just asked different questions. Got some automated responses that were like, inspirational advice.
Yeah.
And one of them, I guess, just hit a nerve with them, and they were like, great question, Pat, you want to come on the show? And I was like, and I wasn't sure if it was still automated or not, because I just my hands started sweating instantly. It was awesome opportunity.
Wow. Like that whole thing of that moment you get the email or whatever it comes through, whatever platform saying, do you want to be on the show? Like, talk us through that emotion.
Well, I've learned through experiences not to get my hopes too high on stuff like this. Because I've had, someone will say like, hey, you want to be a part of this? And like, they ask a bunch of people the same thing. Or like, so I wasn't sure. So I posted something on Facebook that was like, 85-90% sure I'll be on Gary Vee tomorrow. And, I was super happy. And then the funny thing is, like, when I got into the chat room before I was about to go live, it says, there's like 2 people before you. And if you remember that episode, the guy right before me was about to take up the rest of the hour, but his mic didn't work. And so him and just went right to me. So like, I can't help but think like, maybe I wouldn't have been on if that guy's mic didn't work out, but they're pretty good about like, hey, anybody that's in the waiting room, come on tomorrow's show. So it was a really easy process, streamlined. The team Gary Vee, like Dustin and Zane, they just made everything super easy.
Yeah, they are playing at a completely different level. And, I pretty much heard your episode and I was like, right, what was that guy's Instagram handle again? And I found it, contacted you, like pretty much straight away, like, bosh, a message back. Yeah, cool. Let's line it up. And that's how I knew you were serious, because people look at I look at every opportunity, no matter how big or small, it is an opportunity. And I know that an open door leads to places, but a closed door is it's done. And sort of like I was listening to you talk to Gary, and I was like, this guy's talking about how he's always telling everyone else about Gary Vee, and like, are people genuinely sick of you? Like, going, okay, Pat, we get it. He's your guy.
You know, the hard thing is like trying to say things without saying, well, you know what Gary says, you know, before everything.
Yeah.
So, but then if I don't, I kind of just feel like I'm jacking his words. So like, I guess a way to do it is just put it into your own words and like your own style of saying it. So, I don't know. So one thing I've been doing lately, like I'll tell people to flip their mentality, right? But I just naturally did this, and then I was like, oh, look at that. It's like, it's A-okay. So, you know, for instance, people filming or talking to their camera or phone, they tell me that they can't do it. They're like, I'm better at talking one-on-one or in a group with people. I said, well, just flip that mentality that all your viewers are on your phone, all the followers, like you are talking to a group of people. You know what I mean?
That's it. It's an interesting point, and I believe that we tell stories of why we didn't do something. It's like we build this elaborate book of why we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve, and we say, oh, well, it was the microphone, or it was, I don't like going live, or my voice sounds funny when I go live. But you're trying to protect yourself from other people's scrutiny. And I've just written, Pat, my first ever blog. Now, I've been fucking telling stories for like 3 years about why I ain't going to write this blog. And and lo and behold, COVID-19, I've written my first ever blog. I've published on the website, and people have gone wild over it. And I'm like, why didn't I do it for a year ago? Right. That is fucking bullshit. I am now a blogger.
Yeah, and now I'm a vlogger now. I'm documenting everything, you know.
and I'm doing everything. So let's talk sort of about you. And obviously, I'm looking at this really fucking impressive Superman, Batman, superhero cave. What a great topic to start a channel on, Pat. Like, you're already on to a win.
Yeah. So.
This
is a passion of mine, you know, since I was a kid, and I was collecting. I dress up and go to Comic Cons, and I was like kind of observing the community from a distance, and I thought it was time to like hop into the community, start some conversations, and just be a part of, you know, everything that's going on YouTube, Instagram. And one of those excuses was like, there's other people doing it. I'm watching like other people do it. Why would I do it? Someone's already doing it. But it's like, being such a fan of superheroes, I don't watch just one channel. I'm sure you're the same with business. You go consume as much as you want, can even find. So like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my own spin on it. One thing my dad always says, which really always stuck with me, is like, if you give an assignment to 30 kids to draw a cat, the cat's going to turn out different, you know, every single time. So it's not like just because, oh, well, somebody already does that. You can put your spin on it, your personality, all that. So that's what I've been doing. I started a videography business about 9 years ago.
Nice.
And that's, you know, it started with weddings, music videos, and it snowballed into, you know, a great career. And I think that's what's got me to be able to do this, is I can crank out some videos. I have the passion for videoing and editing as well. So I just uploaded my first episode, and it's been really good, man. I started from 0 subscribers. Now I think up to 50. I got a great little following, and that's the thing. It's not about the numbers for me. It's just being out in the superhero community.
Yeah, you bring a great point, Pat. Like, we've got obsessed with numbers, like, and we put success on numbers, and okay, down the line, you know, 50,000, 100,000 subs and all that sort of great stuff. But like, what's wrong with just doing what you love, and then finding a small core audience who love what you do? And like, I would rather be loved by 50 than sort of liked by 200,000. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather have that real, genuine connection with stuff. And I mean, like we said, you've got a great superheroes. Like, I don't know anyone that doesn't like superheroes. Like the
Right.
whole thing is fantastic, and the boom of the superhero genre in the last sort of 15 to 20 years is just massive. And you know, it's such a great thing to start with. I mean, without being a bit sort of tongue in cheek, what is your favorite brand, and do you have a favorite superhero?
Yeah, you know, I grew up watching Spider-Man like a lot of young kids did. And then I got older and realized that DC and Batman is, you know, a little darker. And I like that side of it because it's just different from that whole cartoony, vibrant Marvel world that is usually dominated in the movies and stuff like that. But Batman has to be my favorite because I kind of like aspire to be him. Because I mean, who doesn't want to be like, it's just, he's the perfect definition of like self-discipline. So
do you know what, it's a great point. For me, I'm the same. I mean, for me, it's either Iron Man or Batman. Now that's pretty much the same character in a roundabout way. It's like, and both of those characters are like, realistically, they don't have any superpowers apart from they're incredibly smart and they build technology to protect them from the world. But if I had to like choose one or t'other, for me, it is Batman. Like, there is just something about him. He's just uber cool. And even the portrayal Ben Affleck did, like I like that Batman. I think that Batman is really cool. Like, he had the gumption to stand up to Superman.
It wasn't bad. You know, that's the thing about like, it's you can't please everyone when you do an interpretation like that. Like, and I had some things to say about it, you know, and I did like some things, I didn't like others. Mainly, it's the Ben Affleck for me. I see Ben Affleck when I look at him. So I think Robert Pattinson coming up in the new Batman will be a little bit because I haven't seen him in a lot of movies, so I feel like he will kind of build his own Bruce Wayne, which will be fantastic. But
yeah, I think with Robert Pattinson, he might have a thing to prove. Like, because a few of his last projects haven't been that successful, so I feel like he'd be like, I need to knock this out the park. I need to you know, stand out Batman performance. You've got a Joker poster over your shoulder. Now, I watched that last year. That is a powerful movie, and I feel like it's a really sensitive topic that it talks about, and they sort of put the Joker on top of this topic and gone, oh, it's the Joker. What was your take on that as a movie?
You know, when I'm talking to like a superhero fan or someone that doesn't know the genre that well, it depends, because I'll be like, it's not a normal superhero film. I think a lot of people can agree. It's not the one that you would put under Marvel or anything like that. It's more of an art film, which I love because of the cinematic filmmaker myself. But I think it was creepy and dark, which I haven't watched it again for that reason. So I'll probably give it a watch in the next couple months. But this was just, I usually don't buy supervillain stuff. Like, if you can tell, like, that's really only, besides Mr. Freeze down there in the corner, I kind of stick with heroes, and I'm all about, you know, spreading the positivity. And even though that movie brought some great points to light, I still get creeps when I think about it.
Yeah, it was a sort of movie which, you know, you go in there and like, I consume a lot of superhero stuff, and I've got like my interpretation of the Joker, like, and what the Joker is. And when I started watching it, I was like, this isn't the Joker that I know, but this is a very, very serious topic. And it kind of almost didn't, in my eyes, it didn't need that link to the Waynes and that sort of tie-in. That image there of him coming down the stairs, like, is so powerful. It will resonate for years. That, and I know that people are copying it, and like, it's become a place where people go now to do TikTok videos and Instagram videos, and like, it's become its own thing. It was a fantastic performance, like 10 out of 10.
And this is signed by the whole cast, which is
wow.
Yeah, so I was a little tipsy at a function, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and ended up bidding on it, and no one else did. So,
Wow.
So I took it home. Yeah, which I'm super, like, no regrets there, because that's just a great piece.
Yeah, and why would you think no one bid on it? Because it sort of sits at the very edge of this super, like, comic
You
book
know,
hero villain world.
I think I was the only superhero fan at this function. So
Right.
there was a lot of, other sports memorabilia, music. This was the only superhero thing. So, like, a lot of people in the room were like, hey, Pat, you see what they got over there? I think they knew I was coming to this function and bought it just for me.
No, it's great, and like out of the two franchises, Marvel for me did a fantastic job of building the phases, introducing the characters, then taking them on, and then obviously, I've never been in a cinema that's got such a reaction. Both Infinity War and Endgame for me were just like jaw-droppingly good. Like, I think I watched Infinity War, watched that 3 times, and I think the same for Endgame. I was like, wow, like it was amazing, and I think Thanos was a bad guy, but you could sort of see his point, which is a bit. Oh, okay.
No, they did a great
kind of
job.
see what he.
Yeah, I love how they wrapped it up. I will say that because of them connecting all these movies and having to pump them out so much quicker, you lose that soul that Iron Man 1 had. You know what I mean? That was more of a slow budget art film. Like, no one knew who Iron Man was. And then now you've kind of like copy and pasted the formula for a lot of them, which I don't mind, because anything superhero related I'm into. But I think now DC is going to go for more of that solo movie. Let's do a different interpretation each time. So that's what I think.
I mean, that's cool. I think with DC, they played catch up, and they released, instead of just saying, can we go straight into characters unless you're a diehard comic book fan, you're gonna know. Do you know what I mean? Instead of building the characters up and saying, let's do it like as Marvel's done. And I feel like they just went, right, we need to get a Justice League movie out as fast as we can. And it's like, wow, that's, barring the hard sell, and it was sort of a bit of a. I didn't mind it. Like, I've watched it and I was excited to go and see it, and I enjoyed the buzz. But predominantly, I was like, it kind of misses a few, and like, to have such a great. Like, don't get me wrong, everything else I enjoyed. Shazam, I thought was fantastic. I really enjoyed the Aquaman. They were good stuff. And unfortunately, Wonder Woman has got put back because of COVID. I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman. I thought that was a really good movie. What would you say you'd like to see with DC moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they did, was just catch up to the Justice League franchise. I mean, try to catch up with the Avengers. That's exactly right. Yeah. But, I think there's so many characters that are like, I know that's the future of DC is definitely looking bright, because I think they got over that whole, like Gary says, you need to fail sometimes. So HBO Max is coming out with a Green Lantern series.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm super pumped, because HBO, if they put the right amount of money and time and, focus in it, it's like Game of Thrones in space. You know what I mean?
Wow,
yeah, because it's a huge universe that I think they would. So I'm excited for a lot of the TV shows. I think can tell the story a little bit better than shoving it all into one movie. So I know they're coming out with a live action Avatar, The Last Airbender series for Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, for that reason alone, because it's such a big story. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that guy
in a movie. Yeah.
It's interesting about Netflix, and I really enjoyed the Netflix Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist. I just wonder why it sort of fizzled out. Like, I thought they were really good shows, and the first Jessica Jones was fantastic.
Yeah, you know, everyone loved season 1 of Daredevil, Jessica Jones as well. I thought Iron Fist actor was completely off, and that whole vibe. But you know, I think it's because they knew they were going to not use them going further in the Marvel universe. So they're like, let's just end this, you know? And instead of doing, this is like what some people suggest for the HBO Green Lantern, like stick to maybe 10 really good episodes opposed to trying to do like what the CW does with Flash, like 23 episodes that are just like half-assed, you know?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, the first series of Jessica Jones with David Tennant as the bad guy. I mean, that was brutal. That was hard.
Yes,
that was hard stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And we finally got a great portrayal of Fisk as the Daredevil bad guy. I mean, that was brutal. I mean, you know, some of the scenes in there with him, you know, the fight scenes were fantastic. And then I mean, I forgot all about Frank Castle, but I love the Punisher. But it's got to be strong and dark. Like that's how it has to be. You can't. And I believe the guy, what was his name? The guy who played the Punisher, who was in The Walking Dead. He
did great.
He was a great Punisher. Like, I was all in. Like, I would love to see like those characters make their way into the prospective universes in some way somehow and sort of hold their own. On your God, I could talk comic book. I love comic books, man. It's just like it's escapism, isn't it? And I'm looking at the Daredevil behind you now. Like they've done great. Like Daredevil. Deadpool's such a great franchise. Yeah, Deadpool's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know that's usually what, like when I'm Skyping people, it's usually what they want to talk about. But it's like, I mean, this is just my backdrop, so it just can't help but get on the conversation. Like when I was on the show with Gary, I had a whole list of questions and bullet points. I was like, this is how it's gonna go. I gotta say this. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, nice nerd setup." And I was like,
yeah.
And I was completely thrown off because that was down my list, you know? And I was like, oh, yeah. And then so I didn't look at the list like the rest of the conversation with him. You know?
You didn't need the list. There's one thing that I really like with the internet is you'll have seen them where they put villains and heroes against each other and they sort of compare each other's powers and then they make like a 3D animation fight. I love them and the name escapes me, but there's been like Thanos versus Darkseid and all these great mashups. Is that you're sort of going for with your channel or what? How do you view it from your side?
I think I'm going to focus on a lot more. The initial goal was to have people come in and be on the show and interview them to see why they got into comics, people in the industry, cosplayers, makeup artists. I know I have my first episode before all this COVID went down was going to be with a Marvel animator who lives in my town here. And just
wow, amazing.
Yeah. So you can illustrate from anywhere, I guess. And I'm, 2.5 hours from Chicago. And so just things like that. But then once the Gary thing happened, I needed to put out something right. Cause my phone blew up. It was like, hey, where's your superhero content? Hey, where can I watch your YouTube? And so I had 2 comics that just came in the mail. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to unbox them on film and see what we get. So the first episode was kind of a freestyle and it turned out awesome.
Yeah, do you know what? That's the best way. And like you went on Gary and I'm figuring that once you come off that and you're like, wow, that was amazing. All of a sudden your social media starts like climbing up and people start following you and liking your stuff. And it's like, the thing is, Pat, you've got them for a short period of time, and if they've got nothing to then go, what's Pat all about? And you've got nothing, they're like, oh, Pat's just a dreamer. And exactly. like you said, you had to do something and you had to get it out there. I wonder, have you started a TikTok account yet?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the things like that I said on the show. I told him I started a TikTok, and he was like, classic, have you started TikTok yet? And I'm like, yeah. Actually, I uploaded my first one and I got like 600,000 views.
Wow,
Right?
that's
And
amazing.
it was a camera. I was holding a camera, and then I was going backwards. Remember the shoes with the wheels in the shoes?
Yeah,
They're called
yeah.
Heelys.
Yeah,
I was like just going backwards on that with my camera. So like everyone loved that video. It got massive amount of views, and that's the thing is like why I asked them. I didn't really want to upload just all film stuff. I feel like if I would have kept up with doing film tricks and gear and all my like drones and stuff, it would have really gotten a good, kept up with that traction. But I just wanted to be goofy on there, be myself, post some superhero stuff. And so like all the other ones, 600, 500 views, but you just gotta, it's a matter of time with TikTok. It's like you do 3 a day minimum and one of them is going to blow up. So
yeah, I mean, I've not seen. I mean, I must admit, I've not seen anyone yet sort of come at it from a comic book side. I've not seen that anywhere in my feed. I've seen people like dressing up and doing like cosplay stuff, and it's like, wow, there's a million women doing the Harley Quinn thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A million women are doing that look for their own benefit. But I'd be interested to see where you go with that. And when you're talking about bringing people on your show to talk, who would be the perfect person? Like, would you go old school and go and sort of see if Lou Ferrigno would go on and talk old school Hulk?
You know what? I guess, it'd be cool for like, I think who I personally would like to have on would probably be a little different than like what the fans would want, which I think if I contacted Kevin Smith, you know what I mean? Who is a huge person in this industry and everyone knows him that's in this industry. He's got his own shows, you know what I mean? He does the podcast. That would be cool. That's kind of like the Joe Rogan of our industry, of my industry, right? Yeah. But other than that, like, I don't know, it'd be cool just to contact a bunch of actors from the Marvel universe right now. Cause I mean, you can't really be doing anything right now, but checking your phone, right? When you're at home. So, this is the time to contact anyone you want to contact.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And Gary would say to you, there's no harm in failing. You send out 300 emails saying, a list of actors who've been in series, whatever, and say, I've got this unique channel and it'd be great. And who knows, you get them on a good day. They think, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And someone does you a favor. Someone says, yeah, let's have some goodwill in the world. And someone does you a favor. And all of a sudden, someone like Lou Ferrigno to come on and talk about old school Hulk. I mean, that would be like, wow, that's brilliant. And what's he like? Yeah, what's he doing? Like he would, I think he would do it.
I would love to get Tom. Okay, what's his name? I'm blanking. Smallville, Superman from Smallville.
Yeah, that's
people like that. Yeah, because they're not in the industry still, but they were part of it for a little bit. You know what I mean? So they're not like asked this every day to come on a comic show.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, if you could, let's talk that. Like, if you could get someone to come on, who would it be? Like some of the old school Batman villains, from the old Kapow. Do you know that?
Yeah. Well, I'd have to take a look around. That's the thing is like I think my favorite character. I got my Nightwing right here.
Yeah.
I've been keeping up with Titans on DC Universe, and I think it'd be cool to be like interview Nightwing from that show. And I think it's someone that's relevant, but also not like if you don't have DC Universe, then you're not watching it, right? So I do feel like they're still a little smaller than like something that's like on Netflix or something. Yeah.
And there was a show on Amazon Prime, The Boys. Is it The Boys? That was fantastic. That was so good. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, and that's coming. The season 2 is coming out this year. We're hoping, and it is probably other than Kick-Ass, my favorite interpretation of superheroes outside of Marvel and DC, because that happens all the time. People are like, what if Superman went bad? What if superheroes were D-bags?
That's a great point. A movie which sort of went under the radar, and you talk about when Superman went bad. I want to say Brightburn.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I was I know.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
Really?
it's so good, and it is Superman. Like it is Superman, but it's Superman who goes the other way.
Yeah.
It's got great actors and great scenes in it. It's super dark. Like it is super dark, and it's
the
like
trailer was creepy. So I was like, oh snap. And I don't do scary movies really. So
yeah,
um
yeah. It was
I'll have to check that out.
It's really good. It's so dark, and it's like, wow, yeah, if Superman did go rogue, like how would they stop him? And that was a great movie. But the boys with Carl Urban, like I think Carl Urban's fantastic, and one movie which I feel like won't ever get made again, but definitely should. Judge Dredd. That Judge Dredd was brilliant.
You know, I did like the remake of it, and it was, I never was a fan growing up, but I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, So
Yeah. It was really good. It was really dark. Sarah Connor was in it. That was from the series. She's a brilliant actor. Yeah, there's loads of stuff, and I'd love to see another Blade movie as well. Like that's another.
That's in the works for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they just casted the lead, and I'm blanking on his name, but people are excited, and that's one of the things I love about the superhero community is like I follow a bunch of news things on Instagram about like set photos or like news like that, and even like there's this guy I follow called Boss Logic. Do you know him?
Right. Okay. No, I'm not heard of his.
And so he's probably most well known for like taking celebrities and photoshopping them into like outfits.
Wow.
So you've probably even seen some of his art that people have used. You just don't know it, but like he'll get the conversation going, and I'm pretty sure he's like responsible for starting rumors to actually get people casted. Like he'll make something and the internet will blow up on it, and then all of a sudden this actor retweets it and tags Marvel and is like, what do you guys think? So I think that happened with Black Adam and The Rock. I think that was like how that started. Yeah.
It surprises me that The Rock hasn't gone down that road yet. Like unless he hasn't been given the right character.
Do you know anything about Black Adam?
Not really, not a lot.
So he's the bad guy, the main bad guy, the arch enemy of Shazam. Okay, so he's gonna have his own movie. Rock's gonna be his own movie. And little context: Black Adam was the first Shazam, but then went bad. Classic.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do a whole Black Adam movie, and then they'll have a third one where they battle and all sort of stuff. But The Rock's taken to his Instagram and has like been working out and was telling people. Which he always does, but he's telling people, he's like, yeah, the dynamic in the DC universe is about to change, and he like hashtag Black Adam. It was really cool.
Wow. That's great. And there's another movie that I wish they would go again, Spawn. You could have a really dark Spawn.
Very true. That was one of those too dark, ahead of my time kind of things that I never got into.
Yeah,
I can remember seeing that VHS in the movie theaters as a kid and being like, nah, no, not for me.
Yes, Spawn's got like Spawn was really good, and then they got like they had the guy who's always in the karate movies. He was a good Spawn, and it didn't do very well, but I feel like maybe at the time it was just a little bit sort of too reaching early. Too far. Yeah, it was too early. Like some movies just don't do very well. Within the Marvel block, out of this sort of, what was for me, Ragnarok was my favorite sort of in that whole. But take away Endgames and Infinity Wars. Out of that, for me, I loved it. I loved the whole setup. I thought it was fantastic. Which would be yours?
That one's great because it was like the first like kind of don't give a F,
Yeah.
Movie. But I think for me, it still goes back to the first Iron Man, because that was like, I had the same feeling when I saw the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Like that, I was like, okay, this is a whole nother level, right? And and that's kind of easy to say because it was the first one that started it all. But like, I didn't feel that way when I saw Hulk before it. I didn't feel that way when I saw the other Hulk before it. So people forget that Marvel had a couple duds there in the beginning, just like any other series. Like they'll kind of harsh on DC for having a couple duds, but I'm like, so did Marvel in the beginning. I wasn't the biggest fan of X-Men, but it was a solid movie, which is Fox Entertainment. They botched those later on, but I think my favorite has to be Iron Man 1 because of that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what people forget about Hulk now? Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is in the end of that Hulk movie. Like that's the Easter egg, isn't it? Of him saying, "Hey, your super soldier program's failed. Do you want to look at this?" And it's like it's the Iron Man program, isn't it? Like that's the first ever Easter egg.
Exactly.
No, you raised some good points. Marvel did struggle to launch it, really, didn't it? And then another movies like Thor 2, that didn't really get off the blocks, did it? Really, that was a bit of a sort of slow burn, but for me, Ragnarok I loved it. It was a sort of dead.
Do you know what's coming? The next one? Do you know what the next Thor is going to be?
No, what's the next one?
It's called Love and Thunder.
Wow.
And so Natalie Portman's coming back, and she will be playing a version of Thor.
Ah, okay.
So there's a comic run where like the heroes are all female, or she gets the power of Mjolnir, of Mjolnir, and so she's gonna make an appearance, and she's coming back, and it's gonna be very interesting to see where they take that.
Yeah, I sort of wonder with this now is do they leave it a while before they bring out the next phase of movies, so we're hungry again to consume superhero movies, or do we just roll through and go right? I watched the last Spider-Man Home.
Yeah.
Far Away wasn't it? Was the last one.
Far From Home. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic because it was like a Ferris Bueller comic book movie. That's what it sort of felt to me. I thought it was really good, and I'd like to see where they're going to take that. But who's the next big bad guy? Who out trumps Thanos?
There's so many, like Thanos is so small, I feel like, on the Marvel scale of like when you're talking about Celestials. I know we've seen a little bit in Guardians of Galaxy, like too. Peter Quill's dad is, a Celestial, and he's a small one. So, if you remember also in that movie, they go to nowhere. Remember, it's a planet, but it's actually a Celestial's head, So there's beings like that big that are planet-sized heads that we haven't even touched on in the universe. So that's why they're going like, they've done all their Earth stuff, I feel like. They've introduced the space. Now they're going to space. So this is where we're going.
Nova. Oh, wow. No.
So they mentioned him a little bit. He's in like the Captain Marvel movies. Not him, but like the Nova Corps is mentioned in the... And he's like he's going to be like the Iron Man of space.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we saw Dormammu, and he's like a super villain, isn't he? Like,
yeah, that's another thing they just kind of brushed over. And so Doctor Strange 2, that's going to be real cool to see where they take that.
Yeah, no, cool. Look, Pat, I could just talk comic books and superheroes and quirky little things and all the way along, and it's fantastic. But we sort of going to have to bring down the show. But it's been great. It's been great chatting to you. Fantastic guy. I wish you all the success in the world moving forward. I have a thing which I like to finish the show with called the 5 Whats. Okay. And the first one is, I believe it's important to have a routine, because as human beings, we've always looked for structure and like get up at breakfast and we do this and we do that. So COVID-19 has changed a lot of people's routine. And I feel like in business or as a human being, the quicker you adapt to your new surroundings is integral to how much success you have moving forward. So, what does your day look like?
You know, it's this question's kind of skewed for me because I work from home anyway. So
Yeah,
nothing's really changed in that aspect. But I think if I did, you know, have a job to go out to or something like that, or usually like I would have meetings or go film something, right? But
yeah,
I try to make the first hour the same no matter what. So my circumstances, the first hour should always be dedicated to your mental health and your physical health. So, you know, you get up, you make your bed. That's the first win of the day. You know, you chug water, you know, you lift some weights, you get, you know, just keep away from your phone for about 20 minutes to start, because I know you're going to be on it all day. So those things that kind of make it feel normal. And then, of course, after that, go sit on the couch and, I don't know, binge a movie if you're not working. I don't know. So,
that what you said there about making your bed and drink water. Do you listen to David Goggins?
I don't. Actually, I don't.
Oh,
I'll have to write that down. Because that's just like everyone's. That's classic.
Yeah, like. Do you know who Goggins? Do you know who Goggins is?
I'm sure if I saw his face, like I would know, but I don't know the name.
So Goggins is a motivational speaker, and he's a former Navy SEAL, but he's got this absolute winner's warriors mindset of like he's created this persona. It's almost like this superhuman mindset of he can't be beaten and he won't be beaten, and like you'll go and consume it and you'll be like, wow, this guy is like, he is the real life Superman, like the way he talks, and yeah. So you're welcome.
This is the guy that Gary listens to, huh?
I don't know, but just Goggins is such a driven guy. You know, he's always talking about no excuses. Every win is your win, every loss is your loss. No one wants to hear your stories. Toughen up. And get on with it. That's something that he says. He talks about micro wins, like make your bet for success. Drink water, hydrate the body. Second success. Get out the door, run. Third success. Like you've already had 3 wins before 9 o'clock. Like, you know, it's like what more can stop you? Second one, what workouts are you doing? And when I say workout, you touched on it, mental and physical workouts.
So, you know, the thing with this whole, like, I was like going to the gym and just was in a routine that was not like not challenging me, you know? So I would just do, you know, oh, today's arms, I'll putz around, you know, grab this, you know, pull this. But now from being at home, like I picked up my P90X3 that I haven't done in like years.
Nice.
And I did the lean version. So not many weights. It's just a bunch of like, you know, jumping up and down. But I haven't been this like in shape since I did it last time. So this got me out of my daily routine, and going forward, when we are, you know, all this is done, I'll probably still do P90X for like maybe 3 or 4 times a week.
Amazing. Mental workout for me is podcasting or listening to other people's podcasts. How do you get the brain going?
You know, it was my New Year's resolution, and I haven't been very good about it, but I try to get 10 minutes of meditation in with that hour. So if I can just, because I'm very energetic, I don't drink coffee, I don't do any of that because it would just take me to the next level. But so if I can calm my mind for 10 minutes, because I know all day it's going to be going like 100%, then that's huge for me.
Awesome. A lot of people have started something new in this lockdown world that we now live. So that being said, what have you started? Have you started anything new?
Well, yes, I did start the podcast.
Yes.
Podcast, which was like so awesome. But other than that, you know, I started branding my business too, because
cool.
I kept saying, oh, I don't got time to hop on Facebook. It's blah, blah, blah. I don't have time to, and I was watching 4 hours of Netflix a night, you know, so I did have time, but now I've realized it being home so much.
Fair play. Right. That's great. It's great stuff. what have you stopped doing? I've had some great answers on this. I've had some real like top draw. So what have you stopped?
That's a good one.
I'll give you some context. Someone said to me they've stopped wasting time. They've now got loads of time, but now they've stopped wasting time.
You know, I guess for me, if I kind of reword that last answer about social media, I stopped. I flipped my mentality, and now
cool.
when I'm on social media, I think of it more as very intentful, and I'm commenting and I'm being part of the community, opposed to just like mindlessly scrolling like I used to. So now when I am on a platform, it's like this opposed to what's Jimmy doing? You know? Yeah, it's more like great, comment, double tap onto the next, you know. So
yeah, no, it's a fair point. Fifth and final one, Pat. It is, what's the first thing you're going to do after lockdown? But you're going to say see your family. So what's the second thing you're going to do after lockdown?
Let's see. I will probably oh man, that's tough because like I said, my normal day is like, you know, not meant to change me, but I would love to go to a movie theater, man. Just love to go see Black Widow in theaters, you know? So that'd be awesome. That's a great point. And sort of on that, I go to the movies a lot, like, and I have a great cinema near me. Fantastic staff, great setup, great popcorn, everything that you want in a cinema. Yeah.
And like I really miss the cinema, and sometimes I go there to think. Now that might sound a bit weird, but like I'll go there, I have to turn my phone off. Even though the movie's playing, I have this like great, I'll sit there silently and I'll watch a movie and I'll just consume something. What's the next player? And I was really looking forward to A Quiet Place 2, Black Widow, Wonder Woman. There was so many great stuff like coming up, and obviously it's all just been chopped. But how do you? Where is your state in sort of this weird COVID world at the moment? Like, are you close to sort of starting to go out and open up some stuff? Like,
you know, I was just in Chicago, about 3 hours from where I live, and that was like I walked into a liquor store without a mask on, and they didn't let me in or didn't let me shop. But then, you know, the place across the street, they actually let me sit down and have tacos. So they didn't care, right? So like it is very, very like small businesses are just opening up and not giving a F because they're like, if I don't open, then I go out of business. You know, would I rather have, you know, the cops come in here and shut me down or go out of business? It's the first one for most people. So, you know, and I think it's like, you just got to keep common sense, you know, like I'm a big believer in getting out there and building immunities is the key, but I know that's a pretty hot take right now. So you can't really say that on your, like on social media and you'll just get grilled for it. So.
Do you know what, Pat? The wolf doesn't fear winter.
I know, man.
Maybe just like my background is like I'm an ex-soldier, so like I served in Afghanistan, so like I've done some fairly out there stuff, like, and I've been close to like, well, danger. Do you know what I mean? Like I've done the stuff, and it's like I see danger in a different manner now. Yeah, COVID is serious, but so's a lot of thing in the world. Like so's a lot of stuff in the world. Like, and sometimes the media they build. I believe we've built a super villain. That's what we've done. We've built a super villain. If I got the media to tell you how bad flying was all the time, constantly in your timeline, constantly on the radio, constantly, eventually you'd be like, well, I ain't too sure on this flying, you know, this flying looks a bit ropey.
Exactly.
They have created
a
super villain.
I'm more of like not so concerned with, you know, the virus and more just like how the world reacts to it. Like that's, you know, because people just do crazy things, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pat, look, tell everyone where they can find you on all the platforms, please.
Yeah, so I just started my superhero YouTube channel. It's called Pat Cave Comics. If you want to,
Nice.
look up Pat Cave Comics Unboxing #1. I just posted it last week, editing the second one right now. And
Cool.
Instagram, it's at it's Pat Clark. And I know this is a funny one because I'll tell people it's Pat Clark, and then they'll type in Pat Clark. I'm like, no, it's Pat Clark, ITS Pat Clark. It was dumb, but it was already. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where to find me. I appreciate you having me on, man. This is my first interview after Gary, so it'll probably be many, many more.
Brilliant. Pat, if it's fantastic to meet you. It's great to see your content. I think you're an absolute great guy. It's great. The power of social media's brought us together, and I'm going to follow your channel hard. I'm going to be a big top fan, and I wish you all the success in the world. And I'll turn this podcast around really quickly, and I'll get it out there, and I'll let you know when it's out. Okay.
All right. Hey, John. Thanks, man.
Cheers, Pat. Thanks so much. Bye, mate. Bye-bye.